request the participants who are unable to join on Google Meet, kindly open the link of YouTube. You can join us through YouTube. Once again, I request the participants who are unable to join through Google Meet, they can join us through YouTube channel or YouTube Live. Thank you. It is my proud privilege to welcome our eminent speaker of the session, Dr. S.S. Rahel, Professor and Chairperson, Department of English, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. We feel highly obliged to you, sir, for sharing your valuable time for our webinar from your busy schedule. Once again, I welcome you, sir. I would also like to welcome our torch bearer, a man of positive aura, Dr. Major Singh, worthy principal of the college, for his gracious presence. I also welcome you, sir. I know you were very busy. Still, you are driving and you have joined us. I'm very much thankful to you, sir, and I welcome
Thank
you.
you, Devi Bhushan ji.
Thank you, sir. I also welcome Professor Sasi Madan, Associate Professor in charge IQAC and Organizing Secretary of the webinar, and the other committee members of the webinar, Professor Jujhar Singh, Dr. Deepak, Professor Pooja, Professor Amarjeet, and Professor Riti. I can't forget to mention the name of Sardar Kanwarjeet Singh Ji Prince, Honorable President of the college governing body. Without his blessings and motivation, we are unable to organize this event. At last but not the least, I welcome all the participants from the various universities and colleges for joining us. Now, I request Dr. Major Singh Ji, worthy principal of the college, for his principal address. Over to principal, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Devi Bhushan ji.
Principal, sir.
Good morning to all of
Thank
you.
you, sir.
I would like to welcome, first of all, the very renowned personality who is the speaker of this webinar today, Dr. S.S. Rahel. I welcome you all. I welcome on the behalf of the President of the governing body and the Chief Patron of this webinar, Sardar Kanwarjeet Singh Prince, teaching, non-teaching staff and students of the Guru Nanak Khalsa College. Sir, we all welcome you. I welcome all the participants who are online with us and who are connected with us. The topic today is the higher education in COVID and post-COVID era. It's a very important topic because all the students are very much worried about that. What will the future of our education after the higher education? So I think Dr. Rahel is the most suitable and the most renowned personality to tell us about these aspects, to explain the students that what will be the future of your higher education. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of all the students and the staff and even our honorable president, Sardar Kanwarjeet Singh ji. Sir, you are a very renowned personality, and your 30 number is a very lucky number. You have a teaching experience of 30 years. You supervise the 30 PhD and 30 MPhil students, and your research papers are also published in the very renowned and reputed journals. These numbers is also 30. And sir, I hope you are going to tell the 30 fundas how to face the problems which are facing by the students in the COVID era. So, sir, I again welcome you and I congratulate the convener of this webinar, Dr. Devi Bhushan ji, and the organizing secretary, Madam Sashi Madan ji, and the co-convener, Mr. Deepak Kamboj, and the members of Ms. Riti Kaushal, Amarjeet, and Pooja Chaudhary, and all, and I am very much thankful to Mr. Jujhar Singh, who is the technical coordinator. So, sir, I again welcome you. Thank you. Over to Dr. Devi Bhushan ji.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your motivation, sir. You always motivate us, and you are the force behind us. Thank you very much once again, sir. I
Thank
also welcome some of the renowned personality who have joined us.
you.
I welcome Dr. S.K. Goyal ji,
Yes, sir.
ex-principal Guru Nanak Khalsa College, sir. We are thankful to you, sir, for joining us. Dr. Tanu Gupta, head of the department in English at Chandigarh University, has also joined us. You are also welcome, ma'am. Dr. Priti Gunwal, Sanjeev Kumarji, Prabjot Kaurji, Virinder Kaurji. They are some of the renowned personality who have joined us. I welcome all of you, and I'm thankful to you for joining us. Although Principal Sir has told a little bit about Rahil Sir, but I would like to tell a little bit more about Sir. I would like to introduce to you about Rahil Sir a little bit. Dr. Rahil is working as a professor and chairperson, Department of English, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He is MA, MPhil, and PhD in English, along with MH, LLB, and postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication. He has a long teaching experience of 30 years and guided 30 PhD and MPhil scholars. He has 30 research papers to his credit in various reputed national and international journals. He had chaired session as a resource person in near about 24 international and national seminars and workshops. Along with, he is the member of the selection committees of various universities and institutions. He is the member of advisory committees and editorial boards of various research journals. He is also the member and convener of the various inspection committees and academic council and board of studies. More than that, he is by and large a thorough gentleman. We feel proud to find a renowned speaker like you, sir, for the session. Thank you, sir, and welcome once again. Dear participants, we are in the era of Corona, and Corona says Corona means stop everything. Due to it, every sector has collapsed, whether it is business, tourism, or education. The schools, colleges, and universities have closed since March. We all belong to the sector of higher education, and we are facing big challenges. But there are always blessings in disguise, and we are also trying to find out opportunities in this era of disillusionment, disappointment, and frustration. Hence, I request respected Dr. S.S. Rahil to enlighten us through his lecture on the topic Higher Education in COVID and Post-COVID Era, Challenges and Opportunities. Over to Rahil, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Uh,
Thank you,
it
sir.
is always gracious to listen to such good words about someone. So, at the very outset, I would like to congratulate the management, principal, and organizers of the webinar. I also express my deep gratitude to the President, Shri Kamaljeet Singh Prince, and Principal Dr. Major Singh Khera of Guru Nanak Khalsa College, Karnal, for inviting me to share my experiences on COVID-19 and its impact on teaching learning pedagogy. Dr. Devi Bhushan Sharma, head of English department of the college, deserves appreciation for taking the initiative to hold this webinar so as to deliberate upon the scenario during the COVID-19, which brought the entire world to a standstill. At the very outset, as you know, this explosion of COVID-19 is bolt from the blue, which caught us unaware. Most of most of us were busy in daily obligations when all of a sudden, a vehicle of life was brought to a grinding halt. At this moment, we cannot truly adumbrate the post-COVID-19 scenario as to what will happen to our pedagogic methods and skills. Interaction in the classroom or labs, which was the hallmark of teaching learning process, has been quarantined to the extent of interaction through some inanimate medium. The presence of the teacher in the classroom generates a healthy, dynamic relationship which lays the foundation of our methodology. However, it is not to be calculated that such a type of crisis will lower our morale and deliberate our forte to hold the bull by the horns. Rather, it must be taken as a blessing in disguise to cope with the adverse circumstances. This is very much discernible from the fact that with the knocking of coronavirus in India, we did not have personal protective equipments, testing kits, ventilators, and other scientific medical equipments. Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Me.
You are audible, sir.
Okay. However, it reminds me of Swami Vivekananda's magnificent idea of My India, where he says, that Indian people need half a morsel of bread, then they can change the face of the world. This idea was made relevant when the research and development centers and other manufacturing units in India converted this myth into reality. Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you
Hello?
are audible. You are audible.
Okay. The medical equipments which we initially imported from other countries are being exported to the countries which need it the most. Late Shri APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president, always envisioned and emphasized the concept of developed India by 2020. Earlier, we had the dearth of beds, isolation wards, temporary hospitals, but now we are preparing these necessities very rapidly, and this evidences our strength. Putting the hand on the wheel of progression, the education sector cannot trail behind in this dark period. In this era, teachers and learners have to be more agile and cognizant to adjust, adopt, and adhere to the new modes of dispensation and dissemination. The teachers who were not exposed to this kind of technical role of teaching were compulsorily expected to facilitate the new modules of learning. It gives me immense pleasure and satisfaction that in the mold of other sectors, our teachers and students comfortably access the new modes of learning. Our students and teachers who share the bouts of English language and literature are becoming more propense to satiate their intellectual thirst. According to a report of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India conducted a survey on higher education and observed that there are 993 universities, 39,931 colleges, and 10,725 independent institutions listed on their portal which contribute to education. These institutions of higher education further reflect the student density of India, as the total enrollment in higher education every year are nearly 37.4 million, reflecting the expanding horizons of the education industry. The sector was seen catching pace by the passing day until coronavirus impacted the country intensely. The current pandemic is not only seen affecting the health of the citizens in the country, but is also seen as hindering industrial growth. The national lockdown and the ascending health crisis were striking the education of the students as well, with their universities and colleges being shut and their syllabi stranded until the industry decided to initiate a revolution. Instead, reinventing their radicals and making a conscious choice to grow even in the time of crisis, colleges and universities decided to digitalize the education sector. The educational reforms in India in the COVID-19 era seem to be live example of how necessity truly is the mother of invention and reinvention in this particular scenario. Allowing educational institutions to adopt online learning and infuse a virtual study culture, the pandemic is already steering the sector forward with technological research and development. The switch to education has been ensuring that students do not suffer the loss in studies and their progress is being tracked simultaneously with timely evaluation. It is probably a first of for India to experiment with the education system and make a paradigm shift to the virtual world, blending classroom with online learning, alchemizing education with technology and forming a collaborative strategy to tread ahead while providing online lectures will also enable the students to learn creatively, boosting retention of the syllabus by using innovative technology. The universities and colleges are also engaging students to learn by choice and not just by their physical presence in the classroom. Furthermore, providing all enabled learning by institutions of higher education as they offer diverse courses in association with other collaborations is only making the country envision a new tomorrow based on educational reforms. In fact, some of the universities are also offering courses related to the fourth individual revolution, which will stimulate the minds of students and inspire them to bring a change in their respective fields, gaining popularity worldwide. Online education, online education is nourishing a lot many inquisitive students and providing them with greater vistas of knowledge. Now I come to the praxis of teaching learning methods which provide leverage to dexterous means of interaction. All the teachers of English language and literature must bear in mind that the primary and foremost function of literature is to provide aesthetic pleasure, and all our efforts must be directed to the fulfillment of this goal. There, is, there are broadly three genres of literature, viz. Poetry, prose, and drama. In COVID-19 scenario, teachers of literature will vociferously use the electronic media to make their lectures absorbing and scintillating so as to inculcate interest in literature. It is up to the practicing teachers to inspire and motivate the students to listen to their lectures. Likewise, poetry must appeal to the emotional aspect of human beings. Prose must embark on the irrational fecundity of the readers or listeners, and drama or play seeks to balance both mind and heart and oozes the equilibrium of understanding. More exercises and modules to provide feedback from the listeners or students. Be prepared so as to provide praxis between language and literature. No doubt, we are restricted to some extent to have interface with our students. However, being in a sedentary position for a long time constrict our liberty and comfort. The simplification with lucidity can overcome all these barriers. our dynamism, old dynamism will be replaced with the new one, as earlier teachers were active in the classroom and the students most of the time were passive listeners. Now, both of them have to be physically sedentary and mentally superactive so as to catch up the pace of the task. The dispensation of knowledge should not create monotony and insipid feelings. Rather, a dispensator ought to be sometimes witty, lucid, candid, so as to bolster up the spirits of the listeners. We as teachers and learners can exploit this dark, dark phase of COVID-19 into opportunity in the educational atmosphere as well. For instance, this malaise has given us vocabulary like corona, COVID, asymptomatic, quarantine, isolation, lockdown, containment zone, buffer zone, etc. Even this Lexis webinar is is a product of this kind of situation. A creative mind needs some issues, topics, concerns, and social conditions to respond to. And this touching phase has brought humanity to one platform, that is utmost sympathy for fellow beings. As you know, literature is a reflection of life, and the conditions are ubiquitous in society. We have war literature and the record of political and social upheavals in the world. A sensitive mind can create a world-class literature for the readers. We can harness our potential and talent in different genres like poetry, drama, and prose, depending on our areas of interest. You can provide concrete shape to your ideas, views, and opinions through newspapers, magazines, and social media. Your unbiased, humanistic, and egalitarian opinions will, will help formulate policies and schemes. There are three pronged challenges for us in the area of education. First of all, there will be utmost need to change the syllabi, keeping abreast of the changing scenario. Apart from interactive and virtual learning, colleges and universities are teaching much more than just syllabus. They are sensitizing their faculty to tackle the situation wisely. Online support groups, along with emotional help by lecturers, are only strengthening the system, educating the students simultaneously about their anxiety, the current state of chaos, fear, and emotions is not only preserving their sanity, but also making them aware of how it is only natural for them to be in such distress amidst the crisis. Im- Improving their emotional intelligence, this coupled with UGC guidelines of providing psychological support to the student will transform the education system. Even though the country has been adapting the new age learning, but there still lies an obstacle in making the endeavors entirely successful. What still remains intact in that only 45 crore people of our total population of the country have access to the internet and thus to e-learning. The people residing in rural areas are still very much deprived of the latest advancements and therefore hampering the causes of online learning. Now, virtual classrooms are not only dependent on e-lectures, but also require one to have access to the e-content and online study material. And that is where we lag behind, as India is not fully equipped to make education reach every nook and corner of the country via digital platforms or online classrooms. The students who are not privileged like the others will be held back due to the current thought, and there is no denying that. But universities and colleges, along with the government of India, are relentlessly trying to come up with a solution to solve this problem. Uncertain times call for stronger measures, and the education industry has been stepping up to take this challenge. The pandemic has been working as a catalyst for the educational institution to grow and opt for platforms and techniques which haven't used before. The times are changing, and the theories have always pointed out toward the survival of the fittest. Surviving these crises with different approach and digitizing the sector are the two elements which will get the industry through the storm and wash away the blues of the pandemic. The syllabi, the second point in my lecture is regarding the syllabi. The syllabi should be teacher learner friendly and job oriented. The employability coupled with knowledge should be the prime motive of the committees, forms, and boards to frame the scheme of dispensation of knowledge and testing. Secondly, the arduous task before the teacher will be to equip themselves to meet the new challenges. For this, the management must provide necessary infrastructure along with the technical know-how so that the vehicle of knowledge must reach its demarcated destination. The lectures have to be based on information sharing and should have a feedback slot so as to provide space for improvisation and refinement. The teachers must be alive and sensitive to the academic imperatives. At the same time, students and learners must be ready to replenish and update their understanding to the level which is required for that stage. The language of online lectures should be freed from complexities and yugas, and lucidity and simplicity with full comprehension should underpin the efforts of the teachers. The online system of teaching can conduce and facilitate the interaction technically, and it can also be used to impart extra knowledge to the students. The gigantic problem that impends the consummation of the online courses is the conduct of examination. Keeping in view the demographic constraints and inadequacies in networking and unaffordability of requisite gadgets pose a hurdle in the stakeholders can collectively find a solution to this problem, and our students need not bother about the hardships at the cost of their health. To prevent students from getting bored, be sure to find an online courses that, that are interactive and dynamic. While this may have been difficult in the early days of e-learning nowadays it is much easier. There are currently a number of providers offering all type of interactive training with challenges and avenues, videos, storytelling, simulators to ensure practice and game based learning. Choose online courses which do not require much internal memory or high-speed internet connection, and with a solid and simple script. Give priority to courses where you do not have to download any programs or print out documents. When you take the training before your students, pay attention to the sound quality and be sure to try out the course on several smartphones, browsers, and operating systems. Another solution is to combine online courses with some kind of classroom training. It has been demonstrated that this type of praxis training, known as blended learning, reinforces what students have learned and enhances the educational value of the training. Therefore, whether before before, during, or after the course, you could organize debates between students and classes with the teacher. This way, you will be blending the online and offline worlds and overcoming one of the most obvious limitations of the course. So with this, I come to an end of my lecture, and I request the students and participants to come forward with their queries regarding this. And before any queries I should take up, I would like to say something that the online system no doubt has posed a number of problems for us, but we are determined to tackle this problem. This is a minor problem for us, but initial, I think teething times pose some problems, but with the passage of time, I think in a very short span of time, you'll be able to overcome these problems. And regarding the examination, most of the students might be curious to know about the system of examination that may be followed. And they should try to understand this problem that we, such a large and vast country, cannot afford online examination system. There may be so many hurdles in the smooth conduct of online examination. No doubt, some other competitive examinations are held online, but the universities, colleges, institution of higher education are not that much prepared. But I'm quite hopeful that with the passage of time, we'll be able to do that. And this time we are doing some experiment in some of the institutions, and I hope that we'll be able to do that. So over to D.B. Bhushan.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Thanks a lot. We are just getting appreciation and compliments in the chat box. It is really a very intelligible and meaningful lecture. You told in brief what should be the role of a teacher in this era, what kind of syllabi we should adopt, the role of management, and you advocate about the online courses. And no doubt you told very nicely. Most of the teachers, they are thinking that they are getting so much hurdles in this online system. But sir, in the beginning, definitely we can find some problem, but when we will use it, uh, very soon we will overcome these difficulties, and definitely a day will come that when we will be very good in this online system. If we see that in the history also, uh, that no one can think about that we can fly in the aeroplanes, but now there are aeroplanes, there are mobile phones we are using without lead. It is with this online system. Even being an English teacher, we were using less technology, and this COVID, this has provided us the opportunity that we should use this online system, this digitalization, and we are also learning a lot. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. I request the participants, if you have query, you can share in the chat box. One of our participant, Bhupinder Narwal, he asked, sir, how can we make our online lecture more impactful? Sir, there is a question from our participant, Bhupinder Narwal. How can we make our online lecture more impactful?
The thing is that when we are teaching in the classroom, we try our level best to satisfy the intellectual thirst of our teachers or students, and we try to satisfy ourselves as well. When you take up or take a recourse to online teaching, first of all, you should, I think, make your lecture very compact, and it should be more illustrative rather than descriptive or narrative. It should be more illustrative. You should give more examples. Your purpose is not to just only to convey the meaning of that, but to give him or her, or give your student the answers of their problems, which otherwise they could not have even thought of. Even in the classroom teaching also, when we uh, ask them questions, they never ask. You, first of all, you create questions, you generate questions, then you answer their queries. You presume yourself as student, and then you try to satisfy yourself. If you are satisfied the kind of answer, I think your students will automatically be satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One of our participants, Dolly, she asks, sir, this becomes a major problem when there is no communication between teacher and taught for the lack of digital resources. What to do then being a teacher?
Uh, that is very, I think, pertinent question, and it is all the time, it is boggling one. The thing is that nowadays we are getting some kind of uh, software in which we can have two-way traffic. We can have interactive sessions also. Even the university also, we have introduced some of the links also, through which we can have interaction with our students. But with the passage of time, I think we will be able to interact with the students as well. Even I have in my lecture also, I said that we should have some feedback slot. Uh, I think it will give you, I think, very comfortable platform when you get questions from the students, and you will be able to answer those questions. So I think that it will be very much rewarding for both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One more participant, Shreya, is very much worried about the evaluation system in this COVID era. So she's asking that there will be different ways of evaluating students and not just rely on the marks scored by the student. She
I
wants
think that
about the evaluation system in this COVID era.
my answer to this problem is that when we have online examination, or we have examination during this COVID era, evaluation pattern, I think, does not make any difference. The teachers are the same who are evaluating the answer script. But the students need not worry. We take utmost care about their future, about their career, about their performance in the examination. So we are paying keen attention to their performance, and that is what we decided in the examination to be held in near future, if it is. So evaluation will be, I think, objective, and students need not worry. I assure one and all that there will be objective marking. There will be no leniency, no, I think, some kind of negativity or some kind of uh, dyslectivity in the evaluation system. Be sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One of our participants, Dr. Kailash Kumar, he wants to know, sir, online teaching is a big challenge in rural areas. How can we solve this problem?
Regarding Google areas, no doubt we are getting new links also, but government or our cyber department, they are also working on this, and 2 or 3 links the university has adopted in the last 1 or 2 months. I think they are very dependable and safe. And with the passage of time, in a very short span of time, we are going to share it with all the colleges and institution of higher learning. There won't be any problem. I think they are safe, and you need not worry.
Thank you, sir. Another participant, Shruti Jain. She wants to know how can we gain students' concentration in online teaching? This is a big
Uh,
thing, sir. Even I want to add something in this question. We generally found that most of the students they use WhatsApp or Facebook while we were teaching face to face, the journal teaching. But when we make a group of WhatsApp, then we find that most of the students they left the group.
uh, it's a very good question, and it reminds me in the today in the morning in the news bulletin, a survey was conducted in Rajasthan, and they found that online teaching, particularly in the school at the school level, they conducted that it creates problems for the learners. Their memory, their attention becomes shorter, and their intellectual capability or fecundity dwindles, and this is their research. But I think that when we are compelled to do that, I think we'll find the avenues, we'll find the scope. But for me, uh, if you want to prepare a lecture for your students, you need not depend on one book or two books. You will have to consult a number of books. When a teacher consults a number of books to prepare a lecture, online lecture, I think the retention is wider, is greater, and is more impactful. And the learner need not go to the library or other resource centers. So they can, I think, uh, to my mind, with the passage of time, you will adjust into the slot. It is very simple thing. Suppose I am talking to you, and there are so many things in my mind. Means a teacher, when you become a teacher, you just learn poetry, drama, and prose. And when you plunge into the field, into the career of teaching, you know how to criticize. And criticism does not carry negative meanings, it carries positive meanings as well, as Matthew Arnold says. So you try to imbibe the different kind of waves, positive as well as negative waves, which I think contribute to the teaching as well as learning process. So so far as I am concerned, I think that uh, a teacher or a student should try to adjust to the environment. And regarding memory or regarding retention, when you have when you work under some pressure, and those who are doing PhD or have done PhD, they may understand that everything is done under pressure. See that in this COVID era, when we started with this kind of online, when we faced the uh, online, that is the onslaught threat of that is lockdown, then we did not have any medical equipments. See the patriotic, nationalistic zeal of our people. They contributed a lot. Now, what is our position? We are getting appreciation from all the countries of the world. Similarly, when you plunge into the action, then you will find the slot. You will find the position. Don't worry, it is very short phase. Initially, you find problems, but with the passage of time, I think it is a minor thing for me as well as for you as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You said very rightly, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Uh, Raman Kumar Yadav, he wants to know, sir, which is more beneficial for a student, face-to-face teaching or online teaching?
Of course, I am a teacher, and I must support that it is classroom teaching. you cannot replace classroom teaching. The role of the teacher is very important. Means by sitting in the car does not mean that you know the driving. When you actually you drive the car on the road independently, only then you know the ifs and buts of that of situation. So classroom teaching, you have direct interaction with your teachers and students. So that kind of interaction is very healthy one. And sometimes the problem gives a very strong cue to the teacher to find a solution in an amicable manner. So which otherwise in the online process, we hardly uh, bother to find that kind of solution. I think the classroom teaching or the physical contact is more important than online teaching, but due to this constraint of COVID or this compulsion to remain indoors is the need of the hour, and we are, I think, pushed to that corner. So classroom teaching is more important, more healthy, and more relevant for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One of our faculty member, Madam Pooja Chaudhary, she want to add something in this question. Can online teaching replace classroom teaching?
Both are independent of its hallmarks. Classroom teaching is, I think, more significant, more thought-provoking, and it gives a direct interaction, direct feedback to the teacher, and students are also in a position to share their views, to share their inhibitions with the teacher. Online, you will have to remain restricted to some selective aspects of the topic, and you cannot move beyond that topic. So I think classroom teaching is more important, but online teaching, we can make it more interesting. It depends upon the teacher and the material at your disposal. Means online teaching, what we are doing, we are discussing the things online. So we can make it more interesting. Depends upon the teacher and the interest of the students. And one thing more I would like to add is when in the classroom, sometimes as a teacher, madam, you are a very active teacher, and you know that how many times your student asks you questions regarding your paper or your lecture? Hardly one or two questions they ask. Most of the times you create a question, you pose a question, then you give them the answer. Means, have your students ever asked you what is the purpose of poetry in life? Or why do we study a novel? Means never, they never ask. You give them the idea about the importance of poetry, about importance of drama, and by chance your students may be teaching Kantapura or maybe teaching the Merchant of Venice. So we try to create very similitude of life so that literature should not create a kind of boring atmosphere for the students. Means in that Kantapura, can we forget? Can we forget the contribution of R.K. Narayan or the characters in that and the use of English language in that novel? And while teaching in the classroom, a teacher's true knowledge is exposed. In online teaching, we have so many resources before us and we can prepare. But my knowledge reminds me that teaching is more difficult than classroom teaching. Online teaching, you prepare the lecture beforehand. In the class, for the classroom teaching also, you prepare the lecture, but in the classroom lecture, you never know what kind of question, volume of questions will be put before you. And I think that classroom teaching is more important. And now you should start thinking of online teaching. And I think most of you might have got that experience through that WhatsApp or social groups also. But how long? How long we can share our knowledge with the students through this mode? It depends upon the circumstances that improve. And for the time being, we should try to uh, restrict ourselves to online teaching, online methods. And I think teachers should also start thinking that how to conduct online examination also. In a short span, if the situation, I wish and pray that situation may improve. But in case the situation deteriorates, then start thinking of conducting online examination also. Then the difficulty will be more, I think, dangerous, more vulnerable than we expected. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But the situation is going to deteriorate day by day. Although Haryana government has announced the examination for the final year students, but we don't know what will be the situation up to July. There is one more question related to that, sir. Is online method of teaching is appropriate for personality development of students?
Uh, One thing that I would like to share, that when students and people can make TikTok or their videos by learning so many things, and see that from these websites, from this online courses, our ladies and particularly sitting at home, they have started learning how to prepare good dishes, good cuisines. And personality development is not a kind of external training. So for me, it is very difficult to define personality. Personality means to getting confidence to do or to tackle the situation. You will be able to face the problem, and you should be able to meet the challenges in a very positive manner. But personality as such, it is not an external uh, visage of a person, rather it is an inherent, or it is an inborn quality, or you can improve it, improvise it, you can uh, refine it by learning online, by by copying, by imitating people, but keeping in mind that the thing is that only good aspects of life are better for the betterment of society, betterment of the teachers. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you, sir. While reading the questions and queries in the chat box, sir, I found lot of compliments for you, sir. Madam Parabjot Kaur, she says, thank you very much, Rahil sir, for such a crisp presentation of the issue. It has always been a pleasure listening to your views since our studenthood, 1998 onwards, and will always be indebted to you, sir. And there are so other
Thank you.
compliments for you, sir. We got a lot of compliments. There is one more question, sir, that is related to literature. Mintu Kush wants to know, sir, what is the role of literature in combating with pandemic like corona, with reference to works like The Plague by Albert Camus?
Hmm. Uh, Good question. Literature. So in my lecture, I said that the purpose of literature is to provide aesthetic pleasure. So generally, we mean it that literature is a piece of writing which gives aesthetic pleasure with the instruction. Means here we will have to be more careful. So if you remember that when this coronavirus spread in Wuhan in China, then people were coming out of their windows. They were, I think, peeping out of their windows. They were encouraging one another to have courage, to face the problem boldly. And what was that? It was the only literary advice. It was the advice of the, it was the some kind of enthusiasm which was inculcated into the minds and heart of the people. So when we, during this kind of era, when we have that problem, so we should try, we get that pleasure out of literary works. As he referred to the Camus works and Camus and other uh, literary works, you find that every problem gives a relief, means every problem has its solution. So this COVID era also had its solution, that is to stay home, stay inside, stay safe, and try to sympathize, try to uh, have benevolent attitude towards your fellow beings, and that is the only message from literature that we can impart to each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, there is a query from Dr. S.K. Goyal, our ex-principal. Is a very nice gentleman, sir. First, he posted a compliment for you that it is a very informative lecture,
Thank you.
and he wants to know that will online education be regular even after COVID?
No, it is. It will not be regular, but it will be a fusion. It will be some kind of blend of offline and online. For example, uh, in the classroom interaction, no one knows what will happen. I think COVID is not going to end very soon in near future, and I think we will have to live with it. But in case we have during vacation or like that, some of the students will not be able to answer, not be able to attend the classes, or will not be able to answer certain queries in the classroom. And Professor Goyal has raised a very relevant question. The answer can be the students who cannot uh, attend the classes because of some problems. For example, uh, the city of Kurukshetra or some other cities which may not be containment zones. Others may be containment zones. The student may be coming from that area. So we can have